Welcome to the Sacred Rebellion, the space where truth isn't filtered, sovereignty is sacred, and the rebellion, it's a return to self. This isn't just a podcast, it's a remembering. We're here to break the trance of comfortability, reclaim our gifts, and rise as the embodied rebels we were born to be. Here we journey with the wild hearts, the way showers, and the visionaries who chose their truth over comfort, their mission over fear, and their soul over the system. This is where the coded ones come to speak, the ones who didn't fit in because, well, they were never meant to, and the ones who turned their pain into power and their story into their medicine. So drop in, take a breath, and let's remember who we are, one sacred rebellion at a time. Welcome back to the Sacred Rebellion, the space where sovereignty leads, systems are questioned, and the cosmic truth, it always finds its way home. Today we welcome two beautiful twin sisters from Canada, Petra and Carly from Born Replica. They created a incredible visual content membership where content creators are able to get high quality content for an affordable rate. I personally have been using this in my own social media, and it is upped the game of aesthetics. And we are going to dive into their stories today on how they're breaking through the coaching industry and marketing. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. We're so excited. Yeah,
So
thank
let's
you.
go ahead and dive into a little bit about your spiritual journey and how it led to working with a visual content membership.
Yeah, so I kind of started my spiritual healing journey. Well, we're both very spiritual, always have been since we were little, very intuitive, empathic. And as we were kind of growing up, we've kind of weaved in and out of the spiritual world a little bit. And it really started for me when I was going through depression and anxiety. I was really struggling and really found traditional therapy like helpful, but I also was just deep down longing for more purpose, more perspective. And my mom was highly encouraging of going the spiritual route and just kind of leaning into that curiosity that's always been there. And so I did that and I took some workshops and fell in love with spiritual growth and personal development. And that kind of just was a catalyst for me and even stepping into a healer role. And yeah, it just really spiraled from there because I have explored mediumship and Reiki healing and tarot readings and all of the things. And it's been such a fun journey and it's really transformed my life. It's changed my life, especially when it comes to depression and anxiety. It is literally the thing that got me out of it. And I really enjoy supporting others through their journeys and what they're going through and just inspiring others to lean into the curiosity with spiritual growth. And it's just been a roller coaster journey, but very fun. And I'm just so honored to be in a healer role, helping others find their way as well. So,
I
yeah.
love that. What a beautiful story to be able to share your codes that transformed your life. And that's what creates a beautiful healer. That's what creates someone who's a rebellion, is because as much as we want to say, like, for me, even when I tried conventional like antidepressants, the voices got louder and I couldn't describe it. Like, how come this is louder than what it was before I started? And someone who struggled with postpartum and my story with how I experienced that, it's so transformative because what you do and what people who are very embodied and like know how to do their shadow work and all the things is it doesn't come back. That's what I love
Mhm.
about spiritual work is like I'm not spending 30 years going to a life coach or 30 years into going to a talk therapy to try to talk about my feelings. And why I do think there's a place for that. And talk therapy is so important to like that feelings, but it doesn't it doesn't transmute the energy. It doesn't get rid of the pain, the inadequacy, the doubt, all those energies that you're feeling of why you feel the anxiety, depression in the first place. And we get to the root problem. And that's why I love the spiritual journey.
Yes, I agree with that. That's exactly what I was longing for was just these, cognitive behavioral tools were very helpful and still helpful to this day and talk therapy as well. But I just found that there was this longing to have higher perspective and more faith in a greater being, a greater source. Because I was just thinking, how can anyone get through life if they don't have some kind of belief or how am I going to get through life if I don't believe that there's something else out there or something bigger than we know? And I feel like that's just a life-changing thing to have in your tool belt in life is just to have faith and to explore your own spirituality in whatever ways that might look like. And it is life-changing.
Yeah, for sure. Petra, do you want to go ahead and tell us your story?
Yeah. So Just like Carly kind of said at the beginning, like we both have been very intuitive since we were kids, and we just didn't really recognize when we were kids that that was what was happening or that we were such intuitive beings. And ultimately, as we got older, we started both having different experiences in different ways that both led us down a spiritual path. And Carly's was obviously, you know, going through a really deep depression. That's kind of her catalyst for going through a really big awakening and opened her eyes to that whole world. And I think for me, like going through that depression was ultimately an awakening for me, like as weird as that sounds, because, you know, I've always struggled with anxiety too, but I think that like seeing, you know, what Carly was going through with her depression, like ultimately I was like right there, you know, with her and being her support. And that was really, really hard for me as well. And I think that, yeah, when Carly started diving into all the spiritual work and like learning about all of that, it completely changed my life too, because that was something that, yeah, I also was just learning for the first time, really. And I think that it really kind of helped me have my own awakening. And I was having different experiences like premonitions and just a really, really intense spiritual moments, I guess. And ultimately, I think that it's kind of cool because, like, as twins, like, you have such a deep bond, and it's such a bond that, like, you just can't even explain. And, like, I think on top of that, both being spiritual beings and so intuitive, like, our energies just are like this. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And so it's just, yeah, crazy to think about and also try to explain to people because I feel like we both are like such different people, but also very similar. And then also with the spirituality on top of that, like we both have gone down such different paths, but in a way, like they've always been like side by side and kind of, you know, intertwined in a way. And yeah, I think that it's been such a blessing for me in a way. And I truly believe, obviously, everything kind of happens for a reason. And I think that Carly going through everything that she went through and all of the learning and healing that she did was just so inspiring for me, and I think that, like, she's been my greatest teacher, and I'm just so grateful to have her as a coach and a guide because she's helped me so much with understanding my own spiritual beliefs and also tapping in more into my abilities as well, like learning mediumship and really, like, you know, trusting myself with meditation and all of those things. So, yeah, it's been really cool to kind of both experience it together and also separately at the same time, and then yeah, come together right now to also be in business together is also really, a cool experience too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it feels like energetically, it just feels like your guys' lives are, like, parallel. Like, you just
Mhm.
parallel with
Yeah,
each
that's
other
what
all
it
the
is.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you're just, like, very parallel with each other, and that's always, like I mean, I think it's really unique that, you know, twins I've only met twins that have had really close relationships, like, I very never met twins that are like, "Yeah, I don't really vibe with that person." It's literally, like, your DNA is shared at a level like, your shared DNA codes, like, together, right? So, I mean, not only are you vibrationally in an avatar that's very similar, but energetically, like, I'm sure you have some incredible memories of, like,
Mhm.
Akashic records of why you chose to be twins in the first place, like, I don't know. That's where my brain went. I was like, "I wonder what their records look like."
Yeah. Yeah, totally, yeah, we've, like, been so curious about our connection our whole life because it is just a fascinating thing, and I think spiritually, we've always kind of had this understanding or deep knowing that we've been obviously connected in other lifetimes and had a different purpose in a different lifetime as brothers or whatever it might look like. And yeah, it's a fun channel to go down because we just are so deeply and anciently connected.
Right? That's so fun. What drew you to merge like technology, spirituality, 2 worlds that often feel so different? So like the content of what you're creating and I will add like one of my favorite things was when my coach presented your stuff to me, she was like, I just want you to check it out, like see what you think, like aesthetic wise. And I was so excited because it took out like me constantly feeling like I had to do B-roll everywhere I freaking went. You know,
Mhm,
B-roll, 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 right? So, but I mean, I still do some, but
mhm.
I'm living more in the present moment. And that's what I love about the membership is because I'm able to like hop on with whatever is energetically going on. And you guys upload new images and video, these, you know, 3 to 5 second videos every single month that bring the aesthetic that many of us spiritual content creators need. And so what drew you to that? How did that all get created?
Yeah, so I think it's really cool because along the way, just being a healer and a coach and working with people within business mentoring with spiritual businesses, I really came to this awareness of there's this gap with healers and conscious creators and just conscious beings that we're forced to show up so much on social media. It's like a constant grind, and that doesn't resonate with conscious people. Conscious creators often like more of their time and energy back, and also alongside that, just creating an aesthetic that feels very energy rich and just really kind of aligns with the messaging that they're pouring into it. When you have these deep soul messages, B-roll content's great, but sometimes it just doesn't feel like it's elevating or really doing it. So I think working with healers really inspired this collaboration. And then alongside that, Petra having her own social media agency and firsthandedly seeing this gap herself with people just needing more stock content and more content to just kind of speed up the process of showing up online. I feel like those two worlds, it didn't come together in one instant, but over time, we've just landed in this amazing platform that we're growing and expanding. And it just feels so meant to be because it's both of our favorite things mixed together, which is aesthetics, design, AI is really fun as well. And then also healers and really helping spiritual people show up online in a more aesthetic and soulful way.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think to Carly's point as well with like merging all the things, I think that ultimately this is why we're so passionate about our platform and like why we're really excited to see it grow because we have a bit of a unique standpoint. AI is like just only starting to become a bigger thing on social media. There are like some controversial opinions about it, but I think that ultimately it is the future of social media. And if you're not hopping on board now, like you're just going to get left behind. And ultimately, like the goal with our visuals, like Carly was saying, is like we were speaking specifically to the healers and the conscious creators. And it is really important to have visuals that elevate and that, have a good brand aesthetic. Like there are billions of people on social media posting every day and like it's so hard to stand out nowadays that it almost feels impossible to most people. And I think that one of the things that we saw right away was like, there are so many amazing spiritual business owners out there and wellness business owners, and they're just getting lost in the sea. And, as to Harley's point, like spiritual beings and conscious creators have such powerful messages and such deep things that they want to share. And when you're posting a B-roll video of your coffee in an office with it, like it's just not doing its justice. Like you really want to help create that emotion. And also on top of all of that, like just saving time because I think ultimately too, like, it is really exhausting showing up on social media today. It's a grind, it's a constant hustle. And if you really want to grow your business, like it is something that you are signing up for. Like it is a full-time Mhm,
job kind of its own. And if you're not in a place where you can necessarily hire a social media team to support you, you need tools and resources to help you make it a lot more fun and like time efficient. And so ultimately that's where Carly and I, we were both working with people in the spiritual and wellness industry doing social media management. And that's ultimately where we started seeing the gap because, we were looking for those resources for
mhm,
them. Like, we're like, okay, like we need more spiritual videos that we can post on this person's account that matches their brand vibe. And we're out there searching all of the stock content platforms that are out there that are free. And none of them have cool, unique spiritual
mhm,
videos. They're all just
mhm,
lame and lack thereof. So we right away were just like, we just had such a strong vision, and I think like it just came together like so aligned. And I think that yeah, we're just on a mission to really grow it even more than where it is right now with like the resources and tools that are available inside of it, just to really like support spiritual and wellness creators as they navigate their business journey and just make it a lot more fun and intentional and stand out and all of the things.
yeah.
I mean, for me, like personally, I mean, there's been a couple of different things, downloads that have came into my mind that I'm just like, oh my gosh, now I can just jump on and grab like, it doesn't have to be a post from Canva that I have to spend,
Mhm,
minutes creating. I'm just going to grab a video, slap it on a video, create a reel, write a
mhm,
caption. I'm done. And what my favorite thing to do is kind of like almost like bulk content with like, some days as a content creator, you get like more energetic downloads than other days. I mean, that's
yeah,
just like naturally how it works. And so for me, it's like, so I have all these downloads coming through, and now I don't have to figure out on my camera roll how, where am
mhm,
I gonna put this one, we're going to put that one. And I can take it and put it in, I use your guys' stuff for stories, and creating. So I'm not constantly having to, either have a white screen or a black screen. It's more aesthetic, and it does up the level of the frequency. Um,
Mhm.
for me, like, I mean, I just feel like being able to post something like "You're not an energetic doormat" is a lot prettier to write someone looking at a moon than it is for like a black screen, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
personally, but as someone who is in the spiritual community, one of my favorite things is to call out the BS, right? Like calling out. I have a podcast called the Sacred Rebellion because really this spiritual movement of Age of Aquarius is about trailblazers. It's about people bringing in new codes, new ideas, and being a trailblazer like both of you are. You're going to get that backlash of like AI, and people don't like AI. And as much as people
Mhm.
don't like AI, guess what? It writes my email in 10 minutes instead of me taking 45. And do I know how
Mhm.
to write it now? Yes. But I don't want to sit for 45 minutes and figure it out and go through all
Yes.
it, right? So it's like
Yeah.
as much as people don't like quote I mean, I really think it's the next level of, being able to
Yes.
coexist
Everything.
with something like that. So for me, it's like when I create something, I get a download, I write it out, I create it within my AI system, and then I go through and I read line by line because sometimes the AI stuff
Mhm.
is like, I'm like, what in the hell was this thing? Right?
Yeah, you're like, "No, that's not it."
You're just like, no, that is not what I meant by that. So that you go back through and you're just like, delete, 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 right? And then you're like,
Yeah.
so when I coach someone and they're like, oh, your content's so great. It's like, did AI write it? Hell no, AI didn't write all my content. You kidding me? AI is not that intelligent. Come on. They don't get the
Exactly.
loans. So it's people like, people don't want to use AI. That's fine. Don't use AI. Spend 30 minutes writing a caption. I'd rather spend 5 and write 10 of them so I can get more of my get all the
Yeah.
things in my head. I mean, as someone who's a channeler, like it's like sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I have so many downloads flowing in. I feel like I'm a full cup.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. It's honestly it's a very life-changing tool, and I know everyone feels differently about it. That's fair. And there are parts of it that, maybe are a little bit like nerve-wracking with where it's taking the world and jobs and things like that. But I do feel strongly, and Peter and I both agree on this, that like Peter said earlier, like if you're not gonna get on board with it, then you're probably gonna be behind with it. I think one of the things that really inspired me with AI and just what we're offering within Born Replica is within my own Instagram page, I started creating posts with AI because I was like, I just had this vision of I really want to story tell more with these channels and these downloads or these messages, even in simple ways. And I just felt like, okay, I really want to have people kind of step into this dreamy world that does live here right now, but it's more or less like visual storytelling and using it as a tool that is only going to enhance your message. And I think that it's so dependent on people's mindset with it, and I think that you can always meet people, or meet AI, sorry, in the middle, and it be both your message and the support of AI. I think it can be both, and I think that people see things as very all or nothing of, like, if someone's using AI, then it's all just AI, but you like your point, it is your messages, it is your downloads, it helps speed up the process of putting things together, to use it, and I think it's just so powerful. I could go on and on about it because I'm like, it's an amazing tool for healers because we can better story tell these energetic realms that we're connecting with, like these star beings, these otherworldly places and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I like to do is I actually draw like light language coding systems, like drawing, and I'm not a very good drawer. I'm going to be 100%. I am not like artistic in that way at all, but I can see it
Right.
all because I'm super clear visual. And
Yes.
and so it's really fun because I'll be able to describe it on AI. And then all of a sudden it like brings it to life. And I'm like, "Oh, you just took that image out of my head. That was magical." You know what I'm saying? Like I am
Yes.
not artistic. I say that, but I am, but in
I
different
know
like
what you
I
mean.
don't draw.
Yeah.
So like for me, everyone's like my coach, she was like, "You should try out all these codes that you're like magically thinking in your head." And I'm like, "But I'm not artistic like that."
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
like you can't
really
really do it.
helpful to be able to be like, and even if I do like the basic of it, like, actual light code, I can take a picture of it and be like, add this because I can see it in my head, but it's I mean, I don't wanna sit and draw honeycombs. Sorry, I just don't. And I see a lot of honeycomb like hexa in my coding, like, or geometry. I know it's funny, but it's
Yes.
I don't wanna draw a
It's
hexagon.
true. Yeah, that's fair. That is so fair, and it's much harder than it looks or sounds.
Sided little perfect,
Yeah.
right? Like, no, I don't wanna do that. That sounds, like, terrible, and who has time for
Yeah.
that shit? So,
Yes.
yeah.
The other thing
So
I wanted to just say, also to your point, because you've mentioned it a few times, and I know this is like how you strongly believe within your business and your message is just around frequency. And I think that something that I've really learned through being a social media manager and working with tons of different clients in different industries is that your frequency does matter because at the end of the day, like you can be creating the best content with like you could be doing everything right, but if your frequency and your energy isn't behind that message, if it's not an authentic message, if it's not like yeah, if you're just not energetically connected to your content yourself, and you're just doing it because you're, doing it because you think that the algorithm is gonna like it or whatever. There are so many things that go into that factor, but I just really believe that with our platform and the mindset of somebody who is in spirituality, like those two things together is like what makes content so powerful and so much more fun again as well. And I just think like, yeah, I love that I've seen on your Instagram as well that you're really powerful in speaking to like your
Mhm.
frequency. And I'm just like, people need to hear more of that. Like it's so important because like you're doing all the right things, but if your frequency and your
Mhm.
energy is there, it's not gonna work. Yeah.
No, no. And I'm gonna tell you right now, in the past, it was always like, what do people wanna hear? And so I'm a little bit like Carly right now. I'm telling more of my story. I'm telling about like, the other
Yes.
day I shared actually my email that's coming out like this week. I actually share a story of having a hard conversation with my daughter about school and that she had not been completing her school like she's supposed to. And instead of coming at her from a place of like, what the hell are you doing? Which would have been what I would have gotten as a child, it was, hey, what's going on? Like, I'm noticing this isn't being getting done correctly.
Mhm.
There's something that I do you not feel like you can come talk to me about it. And she got really emotional and I said, "Hey," like she's like, "It's really hard and I'm having a really hard time." And I was like, "Well, is there something like did I do something that made it so that you didn't feel like you could come talk to me?" And for me, like as having this conversation with my 8-year-old on her bed, right? Right before she goes to bed, I'm sitting there going, "Wow, like this is what I needed.
Wow.
This is the mom I needed when I was, 9 or 10 and school was hard for me." And being able to have those hard conversations with her. And so that's kind of where my social media is moving
Mhm.
to is like,
Mhm.
how am I showing up differently than what I was taught? How is my emotional intelligence different than what my mother was, even though like it's not really her fault. It's just what she knew.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize is like as you heal in your journey, you will have a time where you're upset with your parents, but then there's a point where you've done so much shadow work that you realize like that's all they knew. Like how
Yeah.
can you be mad at someone for that's all they knew? In fact, if anything, I have more compassion because they never got to be that emotional regulation of being able to have a hard conversation or hold an energetic frequency for me who had big emotions, who's very sensitive, who feels everything, right? I'm sure you guys relate to this. Being the
Mhm.
empath that we are, my daughter's the same way. And so I was able to sit there and hold firm boundaries while simultaneously still holding compassion and empathy for her and realizing like I don't want you to not have a relationship with me because I'm, busy or I'm doing this. Like, please stop me like having that constant communication. And so I think a lot of times when we're content creators, we're just constantly like, who's our ideal client? Who's our soul client? Who's this? And it's really like, I feel like 2025 was a huge purge for me. Like, I like when you talk about business tearing down, like I tore the whole thing down. I don't offer anything that I used to. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys know, but I was originally like a hypnotherapist. I did regressions, and all the things. And so for me, it was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't need to take someone into an hour trance session because frequency moves at light speed because I command energy to move. So why do I need to do something? Is
Mhm.
there a time and a place for hypnosis? Yeah. And do I know how to do it? Hell yeah. Like I'm great, right? But it's like that no longer resonated with me. And we have to realize at a certain point, it's okay to tear down your whole fucking business. It's okay to
Mhm.
tear
Yeah.
the whole damn thing to the ground and being like, guess what? I'm not doing mediumship readings anymore because I don't resonate with it anymore. I'm not doing psychic readings anymore because I don't channel for curiosity anymore. I channel to fucking embody, right? I want people to learn how to trust their own damn channel. So I don't offer psychic readings anymore. I don't offer me. spinning readings. I don't do tarot readings. Like, I had to
Mhm.
change my entire business because it didn't resonate with me anymore. And we have to, as trailblazers, have the courage to be like, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm okay if I have no clients. And I did. I shut my books for like 3 months because I was not okay. Like, I was like
Yeah.
grieving a business, grieving it.
Yes.
So I started a podcast, and that's what I put my energy into.
Amazing. Well, you're great at it, and it makes a lot of sense, and I think it's just, like it's inspiring to hear you share that because I do feel like as business owners, really successful people will always learn to pivot and listen to their intuition with what resonates and what aligns, and I've been through that exact thing myself, just having grieving, letting go of certain offers that felt so permanent at one point, or you really attach yourself to these identities of like, well, people see me as this, or I've always offered this, so who am I without this? And it's a lot to swallow and grieve. So it's nice that you're, leaning into just giving yourself the space to transform over time and just let it go because I do feel like we do need to be willing to pivot and keep growing with what feels right. And I do feel like that even just in regards to Born Replica because I do feel like it's the same goes for moving with the times, and I feel like those people who are very like, "I don't wanna use AI," or, "I don't wanna use these tools that are gonna help speed up my processes because it feels inauthentic." It's like, "Okay, well, you'll be left behind," and if you're not willing to pivot and move with the change makers, then you're just gonna be stalling, and I think that pivoting and intuition is everything when it comes to offers and how you're showing up online. And I just feel like if you're always willing to pivot, you're going to keep growing. But if you're always stagnant of like, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I've always done, then it's just going to, yeah, create that stagnant energy.
Yeah. Well, spirit will just tear it all to the ground anyways. Because if
Yeah,
you're
exactly. So in some way or another, divine intervention will happen.
You'll be like, you're no longer gonna have people booking in your sessions, and it will shift very quickly. And
Yes.
moving into the caliber that I know I'm meant to be is like, that was one thing I realized was being able to tap into, having that accessibility for content took out the guessing game, like launched like my blood moon stuff. Like, you guys had epic videos and photographs that, like, brought what I was thinking into reality, like being able to take that and create, like a 30-second reel with 5 or 6 videos and be able to do a talkover role and be able to share that, a story or a messaging that's
Yeah.
coming through and not feeling like, "Oh, I've gotta find, like, a 30-second video of, like, God knows what," right? Like,
Yeah.
I gotta figure it out, right? So,
Yeah.
that's what I love, and I honestly, I think, you guys have tapped into an untapped market.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so yeah, I think that, like, that was something that we definitely realized, and I think that's why, like, to your point of, like, speaking to trailblazers and stuff, like, Carly and I we've always kind of been that way, I guess, like, in a way, and I think we were both really nervous to, put this out there and go this route because it is different, it's considered to be a little unique at this point in time because it is like, the AI stuff is all still very, like, new, and it's, as to Carly's point, like, there are a lot of people who still feel uncomfortable with it or not totally warmed up to it yet, but I think that, yeah, it's really amazing and it's such powerful storytelling, and I think that, yeah, we have so many more things that are gonna be, like, added to it as well that's just gonna really, like, bridge spirituality and a platform that helps with content creation. Like, I think that that's ultimately, like, what our goal is because I think that we really wanna show people, like, you can still be a spiritual being and still use AI and use all of these tools to help speed up your process and make content creation fun on social media again and make it still very intentional. Um, and yeah, bridging those 2 things together, I think is ultimately, like, what we're doing, and that's why it's different, and I think that it is kind of, yeah, gonna be something that just evolves even more over time too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your process like when a client comes to you wanting like spiritual and multidimensional content? What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, well, I think that's where it really inspired us to create Born Replicas because, like, I have some of my own social media clients, and Patra's had some spiritual clients come her way as well. And one thing that I was running into when I started creating for one of my clients is that, she's in the Kundalini world and she's very spiritually evolved, and I felt like there was a gap with using free stock content and her messaging and how powerful I wanted her content to come across, and I realized that it just wasn't storytelling in the way that it could, and I just felt like there was a lot of lost time just searching and searching and searching for a powerful visual to go with a very powerful, deep message, and, I feel like that really kind of subconsciously at first started sparking this, like, demand or this idea of, "Okay, like, it's taking a while for me to source content for her because I can't find things that feel resonant and that feel powerful enough to align with what we're sharing." So I think that that's kind of where it started for me. And I know Patra's had her own experience with spiritual clients, just seeing that that need for some more rich content.
Yeah, for sure. I think like the visuals is ultimately like our biggest, focus because we still want the messaging to come from the spiritual being as well, right? Like, even when we work with clients, like we don't like we ensure that the message and the copy is like innately coming from them because ultimately that is the most important part, right? Or like the visual and the message go hand in hand. They're equally just as important for social media. To Carly's point before about storytelling, like it's yeah, you need those 2 things in order to make a powerful message and to like speak directly to your audience. And so I think that that is something that yeah, we really are excited about supporting spiritual creators with within our platform in the future is really giving tools that are going to help them, come up with those really powerful messages. Because there are some people who are very spiritual and just don't know how to articulate what they want to say and make it into a post. Because sometimes, like as a spiritual being, like you said, like you wake up in the morning and you have so many things, and you're just like you feel
Mhm,
paralyzed. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how to take what I just have in my brain and like turn it into a message. Like for some people, that whole process is very difficult and very challenging. And I
mhm,
think that's ultimately like where the next evolution of our platform is going to go is to bring in tools that are going to make this more of like a ritual and to help people take those downloaded messages and like turn it into a post altogether. Yeah, I think we're excited about that because that's going to be really amazing, like some of the ideas that we have too, but ultimately yeah, it's like bridging the gap between spirituality and the masculine of social media and like all of those like nitty-gritty things.
yeah.
Yeah, well, and it sounds like so are you talking about, like, maybe creating, like, an AI built in, like, ChatGPT or, like, your own content where people can plug and play and it's, like, is able to bring forward, like, a caption type of thing? Is that where you guys are headed towards?
We definitely wanna incorporate that in the future, but it already exists so powerfully that, like, we really wanna bring in more of, like, the how can we give people an opportunity to, like, sit with themselves on a weekly basis and, like, give them, like, meditations or things that are gonna, like, support them in uncovering the messages and giving them prompts and things that are gonna help them articulate the messages that they're getting, like, that's ultimately, like, yeah, where we're leaning towards. We don't really know logistically, like, how that's gonna look yet. I think that, yeah, we have some really cool ideas and what we wanna bring into the platform eventually, but I think, yeah, you'll have to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we are working on something right now to bring into the platform soon. And so that will be kind of the start of the unraveling of tools that we're going to add. We're just trying to move with the pace that feels best for us and what makes sense for us at the moment, just with what we can take on. But we're already working on something behind the scenes that's going to help make this more of a conscious ritual sort of a practice and also help the aesthetic as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it makes sense, and I think there's like, you start to program your AI. I don't know what I mean, that's what I did with mine. Like, I started to upload different, um, like, my workshops, like, the actual like, I took my workshop, like, transcripts and, like, plugged them in and started to program my AI and be like, "This is what I want to, like this is the verbiage I use, the information I use, this is my belief system," and start to, like, implement that. And so, it's funny because I had a client yesterday, she was like, "Yeah, like, if you could help me, like, program my AI," and I thought to myself, "Oh, well, like, you should program your own AI, like, you should program workshops, your own belief systems, not mine, like, yeah, I
Yeah.
Yeah.
at workshops, but, like, on the same note, it's like, yeah, if you believe that's great, but, like, a lot of people, like, for one thing, for example, like, ego for a lot of people is, quote, "bad," right? And for me, it's like my whole personal assistant that's gonna, like, my reality into what I physically want, like, it's the relay system in my mind, and so it's like, a lot of times, like, that's I'll put that in my messaging, but if I hadn't programmed my AI to believe that, it would have been like, "Oh, yeah, she's saying that her ego is bad," and so
Yeah.
you have to start to program it as, uploading it and saving it to different things, like, when I write my podcast, like, I created format. This is the format I want to follow every time I write a podcast, introduction, bio, all the things. Start to upload those things that I wanted, but I had to create those. I didn't get them
Mhm.
from somebody else. I didn't pay for an AI technology. It was like I started to upload my workshops into my own AI to create my own experience when I write my content so that my content is actually me. It's not
Yeah.
someone else.
Yeah, that's the
Well,
thing, it's like, I think that's something that, like, I keep seeing and hearing about AI online as well with people using it, and it's like, what people are forgetting is, like, to your point, like, you have to train it, and you have to, like, be really specific, like, try to be as specific as possible about every little detail about yourself and your beliefs and, like, the things that you would say, the tone of voice, like, all of those things, and the more that you do that over time, the more it's just gonna naturally know, like, how to speak to you and, like, how you would say things, which is so helpful. But yeah, it's like if you can train it, then it's such a powerful tool, like, for sure.
yeah. Yeah, I love it personally. My husband, he has their own AI for his stuff, and the other day he was like, "Hey, you're really good at ChatGPT, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And I need to plug in this entire contract into my private server ChatGPT, and I was like, "Cool, copy and paste it in." He's like, "Really? That's it? Like, you know?" I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
and then this is how you're gonna word it, and this is what you're gonna do." And he was like, so when it got all done, and just had bullet points of, like, the contract, so he could, like, grasp the contract really, really quickly and not have to read, like, page, thing. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people don't think of it as, like, a real world content where it's like now he can, obviously probably still needs to read the 50-page content, but in a nutshell, when he needed to see basic foundations of different things, he was able to do that with their private server. And I think a lot of, your higher end businesses are going to create their private servers of ChatGPT so that they are private.
Mhm.
So I think that's like, really a wave of the future, and being able to even help your kids with homework. Like my son had something the other day, and I mean, I have a teaching degree, so I was like looking at it and I had solved it. And then I was like, why isn't this, that's the right answer? What the hell's going on? Loaded up into my ChatGPT and I was like, "What's the answer to this?" And then it said it wanted the fraction version of it, and I was like, "Oh, yes, it didn't want decimal, it wanted fraction." But, like, I went through
Right.
the to fraction, but at the time, I'm thinking, decimal, right? Like, I was like, "Oh, it's, you know, 0.3333 or 3," right? But it wanted a different fraction version of it. So it's just
Right.
funny how, like, a lot of parents want help with different AI, like, if you can't
Mhm.
kids, you can always upload it and reverse engineer. That's what I did the other day, so I was like, "I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to, like"
I'm
you
sure
know?
it's so helpful, like, I wish we had that.
Yeah.
Oh
I know, right?
No.
I know sometimes I went to my teacher and was like, "I have no idea how to do this," and neither does my, educated mother in this aspect. So, yeah, it's always
yeah.
it's great. What's advice would you give a spiritual leader who feels torn between saying staying, quote, "pure" and embracing modern tools like AI?
Well, I would say that you can do that if you want to, but it will cost you a lot more time and energy. And I do feel like AI is giving us more creativity in a way, or it's giving us more creative inspiration. So I feel like you're just missing out. That's what I would say. You're missing out.
And wait
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, exactly, wasting more time, and if your time and energy is important to you, especially in the future, then you might wanna try to get on board, and honestly, what I will say too is even in small doses, give it a shot, like, just give it a try in small doses, and it doesn't have to be all or nothing, it can be both, it can be pure, and it can be a little bit of AI mixed in, like, I think that some of the best creators know how to integrate their authenticity and their face and showing up, and then at the same time integrating those other pieces of content just to fill in and create that visual storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my advice, like, just simple, short, like, going because I agree with everything that Carly said, obviously, to that you're just gonna be left behind.
Mhm. Yeah.
Get on board or just get left behind, I don't know what else to say because like, that is the future of social media and, like, of the internet. Like, if you're not gonna get on board with AI, not try to find a way to, like, mutually bridge,
Mhm.
spirituality and using tools like this to help you, then, like, yeah, you'll just stay behind.
You'll fall behind the rest of the crowd because I do feel like some of the most successful business owners are out there preaching, saying, if AI is the future and if you don't get on board with it, you will get lost in the sea. And so, for creators or conscious creators that want to show up in a pure way and are staying strong with that, then other creators are going to get on board with AI and exploding their businesses because of AI. And then they'll just be, taking the grassroots path, which is great. But at the same time, again, it's just going to create a longer journey towards that bigger success that we all long for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. What's one myth about AI and spirituality you would love to break today?
I would say that it's not inauthentic. It can be a reflection of your inner world. It literally can be. I think it's just all in perspective, and yeah, I'd say that's a myth because I do feel like even ChatGPT, for example, it's a mirror of ourselves, So it's like the myth that it's a robot and it's not connected to you and it's really inauthentic and its voice isn't yours. It's like it is partially yours actually. So I do feel like that's what I would say. I don't know about you, Peter.
Honestly, the same. Like, I think that's just, like, the biggest thing. I feel like, yeah, a lot of people just kind of I mean, I guess it's definitely gotten a little bit better with the stigma over the last, like, 6 months, I think. Like, when it first came out, everybody was just like, "Ah, like, I don't know, like, I don't like this." But, yeah, I just think that there's so much good in that it can do for technology, for businesses, for time, for and, like, yeah, bridging that gap with spirituality. I think that, yeah, it just ultimately everything we already said, like, I just think that there is a way to use it in still a very authentic way and, like, and it still be such a powerful tool for you. I think it's just up to you to decide how you wanna view it and your mindset around it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree 100%. I think that it is a way for you to take out the grind, right? Like, it's like I'm not having to constantly figure out, "Oh, I've gotta find free content," or "I gotta start taking B-roll," or "I have to do this," or "I have to do that." And while I still do that, like, I still bring in my own stuff, I do talking reels, I really feel like able to have the aesthetic aspect of it brings forward the ability to look, higher professional, higher frequency, being in those vibrations that you can see and feel in your mind, but you can't bring them into reality because, I mean, I lied. There's sometimes I create stuff on AI, like ChatGPT, like, "Hey, create this image," and I'm just like, "What is this? Did a 3-year-old like, seriously, in
Yeah.
hell." And, like, some of the pictures and stuff they do of humans, like, "Did you pull this out of the Bible?" Uh, guys, come on.
Actually,
Serious.
yeah, so
That is
fun.
good. That is good because it is true. It's happened to the best of us, and even just those who are trying to use ChatGPT. It's like those generators are cheap for a reason. They're not as good as the ones that we have access to, and I think that yeah, it's just hilarious to hear that you've had that experience as well. Because I know a lot of others like there's sometimes even with the generators that like there'll be like an extra hand on the person, and like yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, no, they literally look like what I saw in church from, like, Bible stories. Like,
Yeah.
who we don't look like this anymore, like, right? I mean, I'll draw, like, codes and I'll take a picture and it will make it so beautiful and we can add some different aesthetics, but when it comes to, like, I took a picture of me one day 'cause, my coach was like, "Yeah, see if you can get, like, some AI photos of yourself," and I was like, I mean, I take photos every year of myself, but I've uploaded and I'm like, "Dude, that is not what I look like." Wait, some people's AI photos, I'm like, "Damn, that is pretty good," but all the ones
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
taken
I
that I've
agree.
uploaded, I'm like, "My good lord,"
Same.
like,
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
yeah,
because I saw there was that trend that was going around at one point, and it was like when it first started becoming a thing, and it was like you can get, like, really high luxury looking portraits,
Mm.
yeah,
professional for, like, LinkedIn and, like, just, like, for, social media, your website, whatever, so, like, I did that too, like, I put it in and I was like, make like, I just yeah, put the prompt in that was going around that, like, everybody was using that made them look amazing, and then I, like, put in pic and I did use multiple photos, and it was, like, totally not me at all. I was
Yeah.
just like, work for some people and not me. I don't know, but
no,
yeah, I think that's ultimately too, just on that point is like something that Carly and I recognize is like, we wanted to like save people the time and energy from like, because you could like technically
totally.
anybody can just go to the Canva generator or like whatever and put in their prompt and like, generate their own image. But ultimately, like the platforms that we're using that to create all the stuff that we're creating are really high end platforms that not everybody would be able to like have access to and yeah, so it's like you're getting like that higher quality with us, but like you're also like really saving that time because it's like it's the time that you have constantly sitting there and like trying to DIY stuff that over time it
It's
you
so
just
frustrating.
much time and you just get so frustrated. And so it's like, why bother doing that when you can just, yes,
Well, and the other
pay
thing
enough
is
price to just get a whole library full of stuff that's already amazing.
yeah, well, the other thing is, it's like your membership is really affordable. It's like if I was to go in and actually pay for someone to create or the time, like I don't know what you guys
Mhm.
charge an hour, but I mean, for what you guys charge for your membership, I was like, that's a no-brainer. Like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna pay money.
Amazing.
Like it for me, it was like it was a hard yes. And honestly,
Mhm.
for even like the stuff that you get, I'm like, I was just blown away when I saw the price it was. I was like, this is so cheap. Who would not sign up?
Amazing.
Like
Yay!
I loved it. Yeah. I was
That's
like,
great.
yeah,
We
I was
love
like,
it.
people pay more for Netflix. I'm just saying. Just
It's
saying.
true. Yep,
Just
that is true. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's great to hear. We love to hear that because we do feel like it is affordable, and I
super affordable.
and it is just more or less like your time and energy is currency, so you can decide to use your currency of your time and energy to set on a generator and wait 10 to 20 rounds before it gives you the image that you want, or you can just be intentional with your time and log into Born Replica and literally download something in 5 seconds.
Literally, literally. Yeah, yeah. That's what I do. I was like, I can't even have the amount of time that I go in and like actually scroll is less time than it would even to like AI generate something into like ChatGPT or whatever.
Yeah,
And not to mention that half the time you're like, what?
what is that? Yeah, exactly. You're like, "That's not what I asked."
And also, a lot of AI companies don't create video. Like, so it's nice that you guys have
No.
the option of the video, which you can create reels and, different things like that. So, I mean, I love it. I think it's great.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, we really appreciate you as a member, and we're excited to bring in some of those new tools very soon. And like when we do have all that stuff come out, we would love to get your feedback on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, I would love to. If you could give one activation code or a blessing through this episode to everyone who listens, who's gonna listen, who will listen, what would it be? You can think about it for a minute.
I would say for some reason I'm just like visualizing the crown chakra opening and just being more open to divine wisdom is also being open to the way that the world is moving and just really activating that heart chakra and that crown chakra by just being open-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's kind of the word open-minded is actually what came to mind right away, but I think just, like, also the other word that keeps coming to mind is, like, evolution, evolving, like, being willing like yeah, being open and being willing to evolve, whether that is with technology or just obviously within ourselves, like, especially as spiritual beings, like, most people who are
Mhm.
into spirituality are willing to evolve and are wanting the growth and wanting to push themselves out of their comfort zone and continue to grow. So I think that, yeah, just mixing an open mind and constantly pushing yourself to evolve with technology or within yourself, I think is like the biggest thing that you can do, especially as a business owner in today's industry.
And also too, I feel like if you're listening to this and you're here, there's a purpose in that. There's a purpose in you connecting and aligning with this episode and being where you are right now. And I feel like there's blessing energy just even listening to this and very activating energy with the creative nature within ourselves. So I feel like it's activating something within you if you're listening to this and you're open to it.
yeah, I would agree with you 100%. And I always tell I always tell people when they jump on these episodes, something should stir in your soul. Something should bring something forward. Something should bring an aha moment. Something was planted today. So thank you guys so much for being on this episode with me today. It is a pleasure to have you come and have powerful leaders on my podcast. So thank you so much for joining us today. If something stirred in your soul today, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, speak it, and let it ripple. Hit that subscribe button, stay close. The revolution isn't coming, it's already moving through you. Until next time, stay grounded in your truth and rise in your divine remembrance. Have a beautiful day.